All right, let's try this again. What's up, everybody? We are Fish and Grits, the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Today is episode 46. I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts. Marco, how you doing today, sir? Looking a little angry over there.
No, all right.
Micah, how you doing, sir?
I am fantastically well, not far from spectacular.
As previously stated, today is March 30th, 2021. For a little bit of posterity here, give you an idea of where we are in history. The giant shipping container ship, I guess that's what are they called? Shipping?
Like I would say freight, but
big ass ship.
Yeah.
Just got unstuck from the Suez Canal after being stuck for 4 days.
Yeah.
Costing the global economy billions upon billions of dollars. Go for it, Micah.
I just pictured the captain of the ship telling his crew, hold my beer, watch this.
Hey man, check this out. You ever seen somebody drift a ship?
I bet you I can drift through that whole canal.
Vaccinations are becoming widely available across all 50 states, as all states, or actually not all, most states have moved to 16 and up, with the remaining few having plans to do so, as they will do that here shortly. Georgia has already done that, as if we have already taken care of the majority of our category A patients. Micah, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. You got your vaccination. How'd that go for you?
All right. Yeah, I mean, it was actually really simple. I got the Moderna. I got it at Walmart. The whole process took about 30 minutes. Walked in. I'd already had the appointment scheduled, so I just gave my information and whatnot. They called and had to wait for them to call me back, which didn't take that long. The shot itself it's like a little prick and you don't feel the injection go in. It's like, wait, did you actually shoot something in me? But whatever.
It's a vaccine.
So, yeah. And then, like I said, they make you wait 15 minutes after you get the shot. They'll either give you a timer or you can keep one on your phone or whatever. And then once the 15 minutes is up, if you feel any symptoms, then they'll have nurses or whoever tend to you to try to see if they can correct or make you feel better, correct them, however. But if you don't feel any symptoms, then you're free to go. They give you a card that will have the date of your second.
Trust me, we know they're all over Instagram. People can't get a shot without posting their card. Yeah.
I see, and that's why I'm not that deep into my Instagram. I've got my card, but I didn't post it. So yeah, and they give you the card to let you know when your next appointment is, and once you get that done, you get your stamp of approval for your whatever that you're clear, I guess.
Oh, good job, Bryce. Bryce got his vaccination today. He said he got the Pfizer.
So what's up with these New York vaccine passports that I heard about?
The CBD pass, something like
CBD.
that. Yeah.
You get free CBD?
Not only do you get the COVID vaccine, we give you free CBD. Try this. It will make your life immensely better. No, I think it's called like COVID pass, like CBD pass.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go to school without getting shots. If certain countries want to say, hey, look, you can't come to our country unless you've had this vaccine, I'm not going to argue against it.
Well,
like, a lot of people get they're selectively outraged. They're like, the government's going to do this, but yet they subscribe to Social Security. They, even the shots to go to school is a government requirement. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Well, what was it? A few years back, I went back to Georgia Perimeter State. It was transition at that period. And I had to get another tetanus shot to update my immunization records just to go back. So, I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to register for classes if I didn't turn that in.
Right. So I don't know, Marco. I know we were talking about this with you the other day. You don't have plans to get the vaccination right now?
No.
Are you just hesitant, or are you just not going to do it?
I don't need to do it. I don't get sick, so there's no point in me getting a vaccine.
I suppose I'm not smart enough to argue that with you.
It is what it is.
I'll talk about some sports with you though. Now, if Lionel was on here, that would be today's episode.
Oh my God! Yeah, I don't get sick.
He goes Super Saiyan.
Super liberal saying.
Also, very importantly, to just this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it started this Monday, right? The Derek Chauvin trial. Or
that guy's still alive?
Derek Chauvin, yeah. Well,
yeah, no, I didn't. I don't know exactly when it started.
I do know that they've started calling witnesses to the stand, and today's highlights were the gentleman that you hear the most in the recording. He was the one, just yelling and berating the cops because he was there watching it happen.
Why did he call witnesses to the stand? Wasn't the whole thing on tape?
Well, they want to cross-examine. Derek Chauvin has an attorney, so he's going to, try and sow discord and sow, just the fraction of doubt is what his job is. So he's going to examine everybody that was there.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I did see an article that they posted it. They said one of the women that they interviewed said that when they told him to let off, she said she could clearly notice that he put more pressure on George Floyd's neck when the more people basically asked him to get off of him, the more pressure he applied. Yeah, is what she said.
Chauvin's a murderer. It is what it is. The man's a murderer. He deserves to go to jail. I hope.
What do you think will happen if he gets off?
Remember what happened in Minnesota not too long ago?
What, more rioting and stuff?
Yeah. There's no, you can't have a public lynching that goes to court and the government's like, granted, it's a trial.
Get another Colin Kaepernick appearance?
Maybe. More locally, just this past week, you saw Governor Brian Kemp sign a bill here, SB 202, which many people here are calling Jim Crow 2.0, because it makes it harder for those, who were a major part of swaying this past election. It makes it harder for them to vote. They also introduced dumb things like, oh, you can't give water and snacks to those standing in line. I mean, it's not like they were handing out like a water bottle with the inside of it wrapped with vote for Biden. Ossoff, vote for Biden, vote for Ossoff. Stacey Abrams is out there just staring at you, handing out water.
What are the other provisions besides the water thing that makes it so limiting, I guess?
Well, the biggest thing is it requires a valid the requirements for ID are much stricter. And one of the biggest things about the black community, and this is what the article that I was reading about it is, there are more black voting age black males and females without proper ID than there are white people. That's just what it is. And I don't know why that is. I couldn't tell you. Do y'all have any idea why that is?
Well, I don't know as far as I do know some, there are a lot of people that don't drive, but I do know it. I heard also there were some things about the whole even if you paid your penalties, like if you've done time in jail and you've paid off your penalty, you still might not be able to vote now.
That's crazy. They're essentially just trying to eliminate as many voters as they possibly can. And it's gross. It's real gross.
But
yeah.
it's not new though, because every conservative, pretty much conservative, Bible Belt conservative driven state has tried to do these kind of things. The only thing you locked yourself in, you closed your door to this to basically try to do it in secret, because you knew you would have some opposition from it for it. And then on top of that, you get a representative arrested, which is technically illegal as well. For her actually coming to your door in opposition to you signing this bill. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks. Like, you're seeing. No, I'm not even gonna go there. It's a long discussion that we've talked about several times. Everyone knows what it is. It's just it's dumb. It's gross. All right, let's move on to some things that we know a little bit more about. Let's talk some football, gentlemen. Let's talk a little bit NFL and some of the news that we've seen there. Biggest thing being that the NFL has formally adopted a 17-game schedule and reducing the preseason down to 3 games. So now records start to shift in the record books. Most wins in a season is probably going to be broken sometime in the near future, because the Patriots held it and the Dolphins held it at 16-0. Now, down the road, some team may go 17-0 and have the most wins of all time.
Dolphins didn't have it.
Oh yeah, they were 15-0.
They were 14-0.
14? Yeah.
Yeah, 14. But they are still the only team to finish the season undefeated. So
right.
That's weak. So they ended up with only 14 games, you say?
14 regular season games and 17 total. They were 17-0 to finish the season.
Yeah, that's weak. Weak sauce. It's like Bill Russell's 11 championships.
With the 8 teams in the entire league.
I'm the best of 8, 11 times.
With no free agency.
Right. Exactly. There's a lot of things that make that. I mean, I don't know. We'll get to that in the NBA segment. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of the new schedule?
What's her name? Mina Kimes, or how do you pronounce her name? From ESPN.
Oh yeah, I think you got it right.
So she was saying she refused to acknowledge the team as being 9-8 this year. So
that's the weird thing. When I was thinking about that exact same record. I was like, it's gonna be weird saying a 9-8 team.
But you can't be 500 anymore unless you tie.
Right.
I think it's just
we're 8-1.
It's a deliberate money grab by the NFL, so I don't really see it as anything substantial. And I guess from the last season, it's sort of I guess I think they came up with the idea for the extended playoffs preemptively with this idea already in mind, so it sort of plays into that. But at the same time, I don't really see how that extra game is really going to make any big difference. Except like,
well, if they're opening up stadiums, it will significantly.
No, I mean, I know for their bottom line, it's going to make a difference. I just mean in actual football. I could envision from now on either the last game or the last 2 games are just going to be like, for most teams that are actually threats to, it's going to be wrapped up already. So, I mean, you might have a couple teams on the fringes who are trying to get to 9-8 to make a playoff appearance. But then it also is interesting. Like, I think Bryce predicted us to go 10-7 next year or something. It's like, so is 10-7 a playoff team, or is that what does that
True.
even mean now?
So really, 11-6 will be like the next.
So can I ask the question? Will 6-11 or 7-10 win the NFC East?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think now the line of demarcations is much more for like average, below average. You know what I mean?
I mean, but I'm just saying in general, like I could see the Washington football team winning the NFC East, 3 games under 500.
Oh God, 7-10.
7-10. The Washington football team wins the NFC East.
Team, though. God, yeah. There's gonna, like the way I view it is we're just trading out one pointless game, which is the 4th preseason game, for another game. So it's better for us. We get more meaningful football.
Well, the only
team sucks, and it's just prolonged a slow bleeding death.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Broke up on my headphones. I need to change y'all somehow.
I said, if your team sucks, it's just a slow bleeding death. It's just like it
really is.
Like the Falcons last season, it'll just be like, oh my God, more of this.
You don't want to though?
Is the I think they did this strictly because of the COVID season. It's a way to get that extra monetary game in there just because they lost so much money due to COVID having to basically shut down most arenas basically. So
right.
I don't know though, because if I remember correctly, they were already discussing this before COVID happened. And they were already going to say within a couple seasons they were going to do this.
Yeah, but I think that ultimately set it in motion immediately and not necessarily, wait a couple more seasons to do it.
Right. Well, I
mean, I think it motivated the extra playoff game last year, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, one big opponent of the switch to it was the Saints running back Alvin Kamara, who as soon as he saw it, he went to social media and called it. He said, "This shit's dumb as hell." Safety a safety for the Packers replied to Adam Schefter, and he said, "We really let this happen." So it seems like players aren't too happy about this, and they're not.
Why would they be?
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I mean, why would they be? I mean, it's as much.
They also get more money.
As beat up as. Yeah, but as beat up as they get in 16 game season,
right?
You adding another game to that, and it's like, God, my body can only take so much. Now you're adding more pressure, so it's like, all right, as owners, you benefit off of us, but you don't think of the consequences you're putting us through, and then you don't give us the healthcare after we retire, more than 5 years after we retire. So I mean, it's all the benefit is on the owners. It's completely 100%. Yeah, the players get a little more money, but the owners are the ones who truly benefit because they don't have to put their body at risk for it.
There was,
but
if I
do
remember.
They, so,
well, hold on, Marco. I think I remember reading something very early on in this situation is contracts and players, like part of the switch to the 17 games is you're not going to be required, like you can take a game off or you get a game off, something like that. Like I'll have to look back into that, but it just crossed my mind. Like there's going to be like a.
Yeah, but I mean, considering how competitive most of these players are, if you come down to your last 4 or 5 games and you need to win to ensure you have a playoff spot or that number 1 seed with the new format of the playoffs, then I'm sorry. Do you really think some of those star players are going to sit out their game to rest just be like with that on the line? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, and then, like people like Brady. Brady's going to play all 17 if he can.
But I mean, what indicates that they're actually going to get more money? Like, how would that? Isn't it just their normal salary spread out between 17 games instead? Why would they get more money
this season? Well, no, I think there's an adjustment to it. Like because the team's making more money, they'll be able to prorate it in there, something like that. Because this season, it's kind of up in the air. They're learning how to do it. They will then adjust, and you'll see bigger contracts, of course, because of that. But I really wish I could find. All right, here we go. So this article I'm reading right now, it says, are the players getting any more money out of this deal? It says, in the big picture, yes, very much so. The players' share of the league's revenue, which had been 47% and was scheduled to rise to 48% starting the 2021 season year, includes a media kicker that applies once the league goes into a 17-game regular season. Basically, depending on how much the new TV deals are worth, the players' share revenue can increase. If the new TV deals represent 60% of the revenue increase over the old ones, the players' share the revenue increases to 48.5. So there's escalators to it. So in the old CBA, they had already built in things for this, it seems. The impact, blah, 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 blah. The league reported approximately $15 billion revenue in 2019. If the players' share, the revenues were to rise from 48 to 48.8. The salary cap will go up about 3.75 million higher than it was if we mimic 2019.
The only thing that's confusing to me is aren't there so like if your contract is already established, what do they prorate? Like the bonuses?
Here we go. This is talking about it. So what about the players who are already under contract? Are they getting more money? It says some of them will, yes. The CBA specifies that any player whose base salary is higher than the minimum number for a player of his service time will be eligible to receive an extra game check as long as A, his contract was executed prior to February 26, 2020, B, his was not renegotiated or restructured in any way that added to or subtracted value to it. He's on the active roster, inactive list, or injured reserve for the 17th game. The extra game check is defined as 1/17 of the player's base salary, and it's to be paid as a lump sum at the end of the year. Some guys will make out pretty well. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's going to make a ton. So quarterbacks are going to kill it off this, of course.
Except Matt Ryan.
He restructured.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty smart by the NFL, though. They protected their asses.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. They're going to protect themselves.
I mean, you got to.
Sure.
They didn't get in that position without knowing how to protect their own asses. And screw everybody else, but we're going to be good.
Because I wonder it's probably not that big a percent of players who haven't renegotiated since February 22nd. Or maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I mean, it's an extra game of football. It's an extra game of meaningful football as well. It's not just
allegedly.
I mean, it extends the playoff chase one more week. You're definitely going to get those teams who are like, 6-10 may get to 7-10, and like we said, that may be a wild card spot. Who knows?
This is like a Falcons fan dream when we were sitting at 5-5, and we're like, all we have to do
is win the next 3 games.
Right, we're sitting at 3-7. Like, all we have to do is
go
7-0.
We're 2-5. If we win the next 6, we'll be 11-5, or the next 9.
Oh, man. Nah, yeah, I was thinking about it though. It's gonna make that race to tank a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
No.
Harvey, if you stick around for a little bit, we'll get to both your questions in a little bit.
The Jets will still blow it.
I mean, the Jets have made some interesting moves, but we'll get to that in a second. So, draft-wise, there was some big moves this week. You saw former Falcons head coach Harvey. Thanks, Harvey. You brainwashed me. Kyle Shanahan make some big moves and make a trade for the number 3 overall pick with the Dolphins, where the Dolphins now have set a record for most first-round picks in like a span. I think they have 2 first-round picks again this year, 2 first-round picks next year, and 2 the following. I mean, the dominoes that fell after they traded Laramie Tunsil, who fell to them because he got caught smoking weed out of a gas mask, is crazy. Like, Laramie Tunsil has changed the Dolphins franchise forever.
Thanks, Laramie.
I mean, good Lord. You smoke weed and a franchise drafts you and gets 12 first-round picks, essentially, because of you.
Do you think that Shanahan is intentionally just always trying to move directly in front of us?
Oh, God. And draft the people that we want?
Oh, man. No, well, here's the funny thing. So, have y'all heard the rumors about what he's doing as far as pro days?
Mm-mm.
No, what's he doing?
He passed on going to North Dakota State and BYU because he's going to Alabama.
He want Mac Jones?
He's going to Bama's campus.
That could mean a couple things.
I actually said that.
You did say Mac Jones, the 49ers. I remember that.
Because Steve Sarkisian runs that same Shanahan-style offense. So why wouldn't you get a quarterback who's already familiar with that West Coast scheme?
I'm going to start calling you Schwami. If that happens, bro, I'll never argue with you again. I promise. Because you've said some outlandish shit before, and I'm like, what? No. And then it happens. I'm like, all right, whatever. Fuck you, Micah.
The Schwam.
So I'll put it this way. It all really started to make sense for me a couple of years ago when me and Micah do this every year. We get on YouTube. We watch so many draft films and like scouting films for people that we could possibly draft. And Micah comes up to me one time. He's like, I found this running back for Wyoming, and I think we're going to get him. The only thing you got wrong is where he was going to play. But
yeah,
like this was a guy I was like, who? Who are you talking about? He goes, we're going to get Brian Hill from Wyoming. But nobody had been talking about this guy at all. Micah said he's going to play fullback, but we drafted him in the 5th round.
5th round, I think.
Yeah.
So he should have played fullback.
He wasn't bad. I don't think Brian Hill was ever a bad running back for us. I mean,
maybe he wouldn't have got relegated so quickly if he actually played fullback because he would have contributed early on.
We also stopped using the fullback because once Shanahan left, Sark didn't really use the fullback much in the passing game, and we all know Dirk Cutter doesn't feel like fullback should exist ever.
No, Dirk Cutter loves fullbacks. He just
Keith Smith. He didn't know how to utilize Keith Smith anyway. It was just he put him in goal line.
What he needs to do
with block,
whatever blocker that he needs to, whatever hole he needs to hit, he needs to like have a Chipotle thing on those linemen's shoulders. So he's like, all right, I got this. Now I'm motivated, coach. But so as soon as the 49ers traded up to 3, the Dolphins fell to 12. And what they did is they used that extra draft capital that they gained there and traded up to 6 with the Eagles. And so what I think all this means is because the rumor is that the 49ers are going to get a quarterback. And the rumor that was surrounding the Eagles was that they really, 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 really wanted to trade up to 3 so they could get Zach Wilson. So Trevor Lawrence is pretty much a lock for 1. Everyone knows that. 2, I mean, I would put a large sum of money on the Trevor Lawrence.
I trust me. As far as game footage, he checks out to be the best one in my opinion.
What player has the longest rap sheet? Who's gotten in the most trouble? Whoever that is, that's who Urban Meyer's going to draft. Who's the biggest criminal?
Well, I mean, we know that BYU, they don't allow that stuff to happen in Utah.
Yeah.
But as far as after Zach Wilson's pro day, though, so many people were like, just busting nuts over his pro day. Oh my God! Oh, it's so amazing! Oh, I mean, he had a good, very, very good showing as far as the throwing and and I mean, he made some throws with ease. It was like, okay, now granted, that doesn't necessarily mean anything for the game, but you saw the arm strength, the mobility. He checked all of those boxes in his pro day, and like I said, folks are salivating over that. So
it's not necessarily true though that BYU doesn't allow ruckus and mishaps, because they are home to Jim McMahon, who is favorably comparable to Zach Wilson, honestly. So
yeah. But I mean, there are some other guys who went to BYU that got in trouble, and they got shipped out so fast it wasn't even funny. So, like, the entire state of Utah was just like, no, which is hilarious to me because did Josh Gordon go to Utah?
The receiver?
Yeah.
No. Josh Gordon went to
like Washington or something.
No, it's
I know he went to Baylor for a while.
I thought it was damn it.
And then I think he transferred
Baylor, and then Utah, Baylor, then Utah. Good.
Yeah.
Did he play for Urban?
No, that was well after Urban's time there. So
yeah.
What point were you about to make, Micah?
I was just considering the most troublesome one of the most troublesome guys in the NFL or college went to Utah, of all places, the state where they don't even allow music.
Yeah, I mean, Utah's quite a bit different than BYU, though. Utah, the public school, versus BYU, the private Mormon school, where you have to go on a mission in order to be there. People just go to Utah to play sports because it's a good sports school from all over the place. They're not necessarily Mormon. But so that leads me to believe. Well, first, I want to hear, who do y'all think are going to be the top 5? Let's hear both of y'all's top 5. Marco, I want to hear yours first. Like, what you think that is going to happen.
Trevor. Probably Zach Wilson. Justin Fields. What's my man Pitts?
Kyle Pitts to us.
Yeah. And then I'm not necessarily saying this in order. And then Sewell sort of fell.
Yeah, Sewell is falling off the mock draft order, but we'll see.
I'll just say him.
Sewell to the Bengals.
Like I said, not necessarily in order. I'm just saying
Okay.
those are the top.
Those are your top 5. Micah, who do you got in your top 5?
So I think Trevor goes Jags. I think the Jets take Sewell. I think they're going to give Darnold a shot, and they want to get him another tackle.
Could you imagine Becton and Sewell as your bookends?
Bruh.
Oh my God!
If you're gonna try to build an offensive line in front of a quarterback to build up his confidence, then that's the best way to do it. So then you got 3. I think the Niners take Mac Jones.
That would blow some people's mock drafts up,
bruh.
I hope they take Mac Jones.
I don't know. I really. They got a solid offensive line. They
just added Alex Mack to that offensive line.
Very good run game and a quarterback who knows how to manage a game in that system.
We don't know what Mac Jones knows how to do, so let's be honest.
I mean, but watching him from college, and now you give him a coach who's even smarter at running that scheme than Sarkisian was, yeah, you can
And
develop
Kittles.
Yeah, you give him the weapons. They got Kittles. You got
Debo and Ayuk.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. That was the one. So you give him those 3 weapons and their running game. It's wow. Yeah, you could definitely have something big there.
You mean like big, like wait, what would it be now? I guess there is no 500 anymore. Damn.
Plus he's not as injury prone as Jimmy Garoppolo was. So
Man, you don't know that, man. He's still a kid. Like, you don't know what he is.
Jimmy Garoppolo's leg like exploded before he even stepped into the league. So I mean, it just
did it.
I thought he didn't get hurt till he was the starting quarterback for San Francisco.
No, he got hurt. He got hurt in New England. He got to start when those 4 games Brady was suspended, and he got knocked out of a game with his shoulder.
Had to come in, right? Again?
No, not Castle. It was what's his name for Jacoby Brissett. Playing the. Or they get Jamar Chase. I think they go receiver right there.
You think so?
I think so.
That'd be crazy if they did.
So someone just asked, Harvey just asked, would they have had to trade up to get Mac Jones? Is that something they really had to do? Did they really need to move up to 3 just to get Mac Jones?
Well, I mean, just like the Giants moved up to 6 that year to get Daniel Jones.
That'd be crazy. Like, that would absolutely be nuts.
Wait. I'm seeing no audio in the chat.
It's back now. I had to fix it.
Oh.
My computer is out to get me today. For whatever reason, my headphones that are supposed to turn off automatically did not
I didn't know the demand for Mac Jones was that high to where they would.
Well, I don't think the demand for him is for that many teams, but I do think, like I said, I think Kyle Shanahan values a quarterback coming out of college that knows the system, because he's not trying to start from scratch. You don't have to mold him from scratch from some normal college offense and try to work him into that system. He already knows the base, the foundation of it. So it's just like plugging in. It'd be like it's essentially like plugging in a veteran backup who's been in the system.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue that. And plus, after I talked to Reggie about it a couple times, and I was asking him, like, is Mac Jones good? Like, I can't trust my own eyes on this, because I look at it and I look at a lot of the people did. It's like, oh, he had Devontae Smith and he had the Alabama run game to help him, and he had Waddle on the other side.
And a freaking 300-pounders on his line.
I mean, I get that. But then Reggie made the point. He said, is the talent that Mac Jones has this year, because we were still talking about it at that point, is it better than what
Tua?
No, not Tua. Plays for the Bengals now. Joe Burrow had
Joe Burrow.
LSU. And I was like, well,
Is the talent better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot better than what Joe Burrow had.
I wouldn't say it's a lot better, but it is better.
I mean, in terms of his receivers weren't necessarily better, but everything else around him was better.
The running game, as much as I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's not Najee.
I mean, yeah, he's not.
And
they also had what was that other running back they had there? regardless. They had 2 NFL
Yeah,
caliber.
can't even remember his name. Irrelevant. Can't remember his
He's in
name.
the NFL now.
Yeah, and I mean, but it's, and even still, LSU had a solid offensive line. Right. That offensive line wasn't what Bama's was last year. Like Leatherwood, I think it was Leatherwood. They said has not given up a sack his entire not a single snap in his career as a starter has he given up a sack. How, Sway?
Right.
What offensive lineman starts like 3 years and never gives up a sack? It's just Stonewall. Who is he, Orlando Pace? It's like, he's played guard and tackle and still not giving up a sack wherever he's been. So, when you got a line full of guys like that in front of you, it's like, I think they said something to the extent of he made less throws under pressure than just about any quarterback in the league. And that to me is what makes it hard to judge how good Mac Jones is. Because, he made the throws, he read the defenses and everything, and it was great. But the fact that you never really saw him under duress is like, God, it's like a quarterback who looks amazing in 7-on-7. And then when you actually put that fire on him, it's like, all right, what happens when you actually put pressure on him? I mean, yeah, he looks great when no one can actually punch and hit him in the face. Mm-hmm. But, what happens when, there are actual rushers in his face and he still has to stand in and make a throw.
I mean, Joe Burrow was technically concussed into greatness. So he's like an outlier. But I mean, like you said with Mac Jones, a lot of what I saw is him just standing back there, patting the ball, then letting it fly, and then NFL receivers just swooping right under and taking it to the end zone, like with nobody around them. And mind you, he did make the throws. So I mean, he's better at throwing to spots than Tua, in my opinion. But, at the same time, he doesn't have that. What Tua did better was he had that ability to sort of create on the fly, which Mac Jones can do. But to me, he's more of a system quarterback. And when your system is that great, it's really hard just to get an idea of what they actually are.
But that's also why I feel like the Niners would be a great fit for him, because the system. I believe he is a system guy, and he knows that system. So to keep him in that system you could truly maximize his potential, especially since Shanahan, especially with Shanahan at the helm, because he's better at calling it and more creative, a lot more creative, and able to set up easy throws than even Sark was.
Yeah, and I mean, Mac Jones isn't completely immobile either. Like, he can still move a little bit. He's not.
Can he?
He's more. I would say he's more mobile than Matt Ryan, honestly.
He has wheels.
Well, but that's.
He's not a modern day quarterback where you're.
No. I know that. I know that, but my hint is to the fact is there was so little pressure on him. I don't know if I ever really saw him like take off. Outrun a D lineman like
he never had to do that.
Watch him die for a first down or something, like, bro. What? Mac Jones just kind of.
I mean, Mac Jones has Aaron Rodgers speed. I mean,
oh no, I don't know about that.
I mean, maybe not. He has the same speed as him. Maybe he's not as good as using that speed, but I'd say he's just as fast as Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is deceptively athletic.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna throw my top 5 out there. I'm gonna go Trevor Lawrence. Then 2 is where it gets kind of, iffy for me. I could see this either being Pitts. I could see Pitts going 2 here because they need offensive weapons desperately up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could see like a Sewell there, just because Sewell is grading out. For him only to be 19 as well, to be grading out as high as he is ridiculous. So you'd get a tackle, one that's NFL ready, and you get him at 19, so you're getting him earlier, and he's going to play a lot longer for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just say Sewell at 2. Then I'll say Zach Wilson at 3, because I think the reason they traded up and the Eagles were eyeing 3 to get Zach Wilson is because they knew the Jets weren't picking Zach Wilson. Because then there would be no reason for the Eagles to be that willing to move up to 3 unless they knew what the Jets were going to do at 3. So I think they picked Zach Wilson at 3 to the 49ers. They get that mobile guy with the strong arm. 4, I honestly feel like we trade out of it. But if I'm forced to pick for us and we stay there, I would probably say yeah, I mean Pitt's there. If we're staying to pick the best player available, even if Justin Fields is there, I just don't. I mean, I would be really surprised at this point to see us still stick with a quarterback. And then 5, I think it's Jamar Chase. I think they reunite Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, and they give him what they wanted.
So my only question is, now the only thing I will say about this is the Falcons, this is the first year I've seen no transparency from the Falcons. They either, it used to be they would never either say anything or you pretty much, or you had some kind of inkling of where they were going to go. They played it close to the vest, I want to say, should I say, but now there are 100 different stories coming out. I've seen, we're strongly considering quarterback at number 4. We're looking to trade down. I've seen a lot of different rumors. I've never seen, it's been a while since I've seen this much talk come out of the front office for a Falcons team. And I don't even remember, since I can't even remember.
What seems the most likely to you, Micah? What do you think we will do?
What I think we will do, honestly, I think trade back, unless I think if for some reason Zach Wilson might be there, we might pull the trigger. But at this rate, I think we might try and trade back and try to go. But I don't know. I don't know if we trade back and maybe go Surtain or what. But
some of the most likely trading partners that we've heard thus far is New England trading up to get a quarterback, and the Broncos trading up from 10. So either 10 or 12 is where we'll likely wind up if we're going to trade back and still allow us to get quite the haul. So, if we trade to 10 or 12, we'll probably wind up getting their first-round pick this year, a first-round pick next year, and some more this year. I would assume like another second or third this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if we fall back to like that 10 or 12 range, what do you think we wind up picking?
Surtain. I mean, that's
I don't know if he's gonna fall past 10.
If he might, just because this is such a strong quarterback and receiver, and a lot of those teams up high need quarterbacks, receivers, and offensive linemen. So I think Surtain. And like in a lot of the mock drafts I've seen, Surtain always drops because there aren't that many teams where cornerback is a high priority need, or it's not as big of a need as, like I said, as quarterback is right now, because like so many teams are trying to trade up for quarterbacks.
But can you rely on 10 teams to not take best player available? Because we all say all the time that drafting for need isn't a smart philosophy. So
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, but that still happens every year. The Falcons did it for years, Marco.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's a large percentage of teams that still draft based off need. That's the reason why a lot of teams are perpetually, fringe playoff teams are out or just outside looking in, and or just perpetual bottom feeders because they draft based off need, purely based off need, and not necessarily by getting the best talent available. So, and not to mention, like I said, quarterbacks, Trey Lance is going to go top 10 probably just off the fact somebody is going to panic and trade up. Somebody in the middle who needs a quarterback is going to trade up just to get.
And if there is that run at the top four of the draft, if it does go like a lot of people are predicting that it goes quarterback, then that means those teams that are like, oh, we can still get one of those guys in the second round or like the first round are not going to go, okay, wait, maybe the timer just sped up on us having to trade up, and get, that guy that we thought we could get at the second or the end of the first. So,
or say this, Jags take Trevor, Niners take Zach Wilson, Dolphins take Justin Fields. All right, that's 6. The top 3 quarterbacks are gone at picks number 6.
I would be shocked if the Dolphins drafted another quarterback.
That's what they've been saying.
There's a lot of pundits that believe they're not satisfied with Tua.
I mean, they were trying to trade him for Deshaun. I know that much.
Yeah,
that's Deshaun. That's a proven NFL quarterback that they were trying to trade Tua for. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know how much of that I actually believe that they're not.
I mean, they might go. I mean, I could see them go Micah Parsons at 6'2", but
if they got Parsons,
who's number 7? Is it Lions?
I always forget after the top 5. Let's see.
I think it's the Lions.
I can see the Lions drafting Trey Lance.
So 7 is the Lions, 8 is the Panthers, 9 is the Broncos. The Broncos are 9, and Cowboys are 10.
You're kind of loud.
My bad. Let me turn that down a little bit for you because I turned my gain up because it wasn't really that loud on the thing.
So, at 7, especially if Detroit takes Justin Fields, and so all the 3 top quarterbacks are gone by 7, I guarantee you somebody's going to try and trade up to 9 or something to get Trey Lance. Somebody in the top 10, just because. It's like, oh, we need a quarterback. I mean, it was like the year the Pat Mahomes got drafted.
His name, say it correctly, Micah.
Pat Mahomes boy. So, Trubisky wound up sliding into that 2 spot somehow. Deshaun went at 10?
I think so, yeah.
And so the Chiefs traded up to 15 just to get Pat Mahomes. And it was just like, nobody saw it coming, but they were like, we need the quarterback of the future because Alex Smith isn't the guy long term. So they traded up to get him. So I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And for those of you all tuning in, we will be doing a live reaction to the draft. For those of you that don't know us personally, we're big on attending the draft and watching stuff, but obviously the Falcons won't be hosting their draft party this year. So we'll probably do it, here, more than likely, I would guess. And we'll do a live reaction so y'all can tune in and watch it with us and give your opinions and talk to us about some things. So moving on from the draft, let's talk a little bit of really 2 stories that are on opposite ends of the spectrum here. With first starting with Justin Herron of the Patriots. He's their offensive lineman that just recently got noticed and got an outstanding service award for stopping a sexual assault on a 71-year-old retired school teacher in Tempe, Arizona. So
was it my man? I'm a soldier. Was it Winslow? Was Winslow at it again?
Oh,
He's
my
in jail,
God.
isn't he?
Yeah.
God, talk about mental illness
Bruh.
that they just let run amok because you're athletically gifted. So there's that,
Helen.
but then there's also our neighbors and our division rival, starting quarterback Marshon Lattimore. He was recently arrested for a 4th-degree felony of receiving a stolen firearm, as well as failing to notify police the possession of the firearm. So when he got arrested, he didn't tell them that he had one. This goes a little both ways to me. I don't know for certain, even though my hatred of the Saints, and especially Marshon Lattimore, since he likes to grab Julio Jones every time and thinks he's a good corner. I don't know how much I'm letting that weigh in on my opinion of this situation, but I'm not certain that Marshon Lattimore purposely, possessed or purchased a stolen firearm. The man makes millions of dollars a year. He can certainly afford to go buy a legitimate firearm. Unless he's just dumb.
Well, it might have been like, his homie. It might have been like his homie had the gun plug, and instead of doing it through the the official ways, he was probably like, oh, let me help my homie out. Let me throw my homie some bread. And then his homie probably brought him a hot weapon.
Right, but I don't. Do you think his friend was like, "Yo, I stole this shit"?
No, but I'm sure his friend, knew he stole it, but I don't think Lattimore.
Or he might have just put him in touch with somebody that sold hot weapons,
right?
And didn't clarify that he sold hot weapons.
But then again, at the same time, maybe Lattimore wasn't. I feel like it's as a buyer, it's your duty to find out what kind of weapons you're buying.
Which is why you should go through the proper channels and purchase your firearms legally. He was in Cleveland, Harvey.
What kind of gun was it? Did they say?
I think it was just a handgun. I didn't look too much into it. I just laughed and looked at it. That could, depending on how that turns out, if there's other things that are uncovered, it could really hurt him.
Fortunately, he's not in New York.
Plexico?
New York is,
Plexico?
Hey, bruh. New York comes with like a mandatory 2-year sentence.
Oh, New York does not play about gun crime.
Oh man, bruh. Fortunately for him, he doesn't play on the Giants he doesn't play on the Buffalo Bills because that's the only team that actually plays in the state of New York.
Speaking of the Buffalo Bills, Jake Fromm has been engaged to his Georgia girlfriend.
His longtime sweetheart. It was like in a field or something. I remember seeing that, but who cares? Jake from State Farm is not a starter. He's a racist, and we don't care.
That's my quarterback. Well, I'm not a Georgia fan.
That was Micah's quarterback.
That I've just since disowned years ago.
He is a weird looking dude because I saw the pictures when they came up, and like there's a view of him from this side, and it's just like Cro-Mag brow. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, he looks a lot like Seth MacFarlane.
He does look a little bit like Seth MacFarlane. I can agree with that.
We roll with JT now.
Yeah. Oh man, that sucks about Pickens.
Oh yeah.
That really sucks about Pickens. But moving on to some Falcons related and directly related free agent news. Actually, Harvey, what you said you burned 6 jerseys. Tell me, I want to know exactly who they were. Like that's $600 if they're over $600, over $700 if they're legitimate jerseys. If you're actually out here just setting ablaze $700.
Unless he's buying those old champion ones.
Yeah, that's true. Or the T-shirt jerseys, the jerseys. Don't get caught dead in Chicago with a bad jersey, especially at an NBA game. Their announcer's going to roast you on national television. But our prior starting free safety, Ricardo Allen, recently signed a 1-year deal with the Bengals. So he will be their starting free safety, which should help out a lot with that defense. As we know, he's a really good player. Like he's never going to be a Pro Bowler unless he gets lucky in a season and gets a couple picks that fall his way. But he's never going to be a bad player for him. So they added some good depth, a good veteran that will help out that team to really start to turn that defense around. He's not going to change it on his own, but he'll help out those secondary players. Deshaun Jackson just recently signed with the Rams, so Stafford to Deshaun should be interesting because that man still has some wheels, even at his age. That man can move still.
He just needs to stop quoting Hitler.
Yeah. Deshaun Jackson said and done a lot of dumb things in his career. The Buccaneers somehow pull money out of their ass again and re-sign Ndamukong Suh. So they've managed to keep pretty much that whole front seven.
But it goes back to what I said. How do our division rivals have such cap creativity? I've never how do they just magically create? David Blaine, $10 million. Here you go. Where's the money coming from?
They're at the front office and they're like, "Hey, look over there!" And a guy goes over and starts adjusting their cap in the computer.
Hey, Roger Goodell, look. You only have $90 million in cap.
You have a full? Did you cut everyone? Oh God, I agree. We seem, and years past we seem to have been the least cap creative. Maybe shortly followed by the Panthers. They haven't really done anything. They've had to cut a lot of good players and say goodbye to a lot of all-time greats on their team because they couldn't afford them.
Kawan Short.
Who?
Kawan Short.
Kawan Short, Steve Smith, Thomas Davis at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Cam was kind of that. His contract was so friendly. I think it only cost him $2 million to let him go. There's another one I'm not thinking of.
It was quite a few. Yeah.
Peanut Tillman. You're welcome, Robo. But yeah, I agree. We definitely have not been the most creative amongst the NFC South. Also, T.Y. Hilton signed with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson gets a decent slot target. He's not what he used to be, but he's still pretty good.
That's if he can stay healthy.
I'm sorry, no. T.Y. Hilton re-signs with the Colts, becoming a Raven. That's what I was.
I was about to say, wait, what?
Yeah, that's what He said he was like this close to signing with the Ravens.
So Wentz will keep a target.
Yeah, Wentz keeps a target. So Malcolm Butler signs a 1-year deal with the Cardinals. He will now be playing in the stadium where he made that amazing catch to steal a Super Bowl out of the Seahawks' fingers. Really,
the play that broke up the Seahawks.
Yeah, exactly.
It was amazing, but it was also
Malcolm Butler killed the Seahawks.
One of the easiest Super Bowl clinching interceptions.
Oh, I don't know if that was an easy interception. That was still a hell of a catch.
I mean, he threw it right too.
So Harvey said he only buys NFL jerseys, and he had Trufant, Robert Alford, Devontae, Vic Beasley, and Tack.
Oh wow, yeah, I'd be burning too.
Yeah, I would burn Tacks, and I would burn Beasley just because they're trash. Everybody else I would probably keep.
Hey, Beasley had at least had a landmark year.
Were you listening to 92.9 today at lunch?
Yeah, what they were talking about Ojolari?
Yeah, and then what Chuck Smith was saying about Vic Beasley and Tack McKinley?
No, what did he say?
He said that the reason Vic Beasley is no longer or didn't develop in here in the NFL is because his refusal. I mean, for those of us that watched him, kind of knew this, but he said his refusal to develop a go-to move, and he was not just into football. That obviously came out, but the biggest thing was he did not study the game at all, and he did not take coaching. People that would tell him things, he would just like, I'm good.
Vic Busley.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
Whack McKinley.
And then Tack, he said he blames Tack's problems on injuries more than he does anything. His inability to stay consistently on the field and injuries that hampered his ability to do certain things.
I would also add mental toughness, because you can raise a lot of hell and say all this stuff, and act like, you could come from a tough neighborhood and still be mentally unstable. And I think that's sort of how he was, like a lot of scapegoating, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of stuff like that. I'm not just accountable for my own shortcomings. Everything else is somebody else. And I saw a lot of that with Tech.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely saw it once he left, like the way he acted on social media for sure. He was not mature about it. We'll say it that much, but a lot of these kids that are in the NFL are just that. They're kids. They're very young still. They're 23, 24 years old, never been told no, and have millions of dollars now.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like the great ones always sort of have a demeanor from a young age.
Micah has turned into a microphone, by the way.
Like, there's not many Lawrence Taylors out here who could just be batshit crazy and still be the greatest of all time.
Batshit crazy and doing coke.
Right. And
whoa.
screwing hookers.
The coke is what made him focus. the coke pulled him in ultra focus. I can see everything before it happens.
And then we'll kind of speed through the rest of these. Seahawks re-signed Carlos Dunlap. Willie Snead signs with the Raiders. Lawrence Guy signs with the Patriots for 4 years, $11 million. I get that he's not a pass rusher. He's a run stopper, but good Lord, talk about a mega deal that they got. Sammy Watkins signs a 1 year, $6 million deal with the Ravens. That was the receiver that I was thinking about that they signed. So he got it. Lamar's got a speedy, can be sure-handed wide receiver at times, but never really lived up to potential.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Injury, because he's injury prone.
Yeah. And
so but hold on. Just one thing that just frustrates me with the Ravens. They keep going after the same guy. Undersized, athletic receivers, and it's like, no, y'all need somebody with some size. Like Des Bryant was a okay pickup for him because he has some size, but he can't run the route tree. He's limited as far as route running. Sammy Watkins can run routes, but he's still a small receiver. He's 6'1", but he's like 185 pounds.
Is he that small?
Yeah, he's not a big guy. Because his game is based off of his speed as opposed to, just
How long has Sammy Watkins been in the league?
Like 6 or 7 years now, at least.
Longer than
Still
that.
hasn't put on more than that weight.
Longer than that.
I feel like you can gain more weight and still keep your quickness. It's just you have to.
Let's see. Sammy Watkins. This will be his 8th season. So, yeah, he's been in the league 7 years.
Where do they list him at?
He's listed at 6'1". Oh, yeah, he's much bigger than that, Mike. He's 211.
Okay, I was about to say,
he's
no way he's 185.
He looked like he was a pretty big guy.
He don't play like it. He plays like it's.
You're right.
He
plays like Deshaun Jackson. But he's got some size, but he plays like Deshaun Jackson. He's a speed guy.
Yeah.
Soft.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. He's not like a red zone threat at that size by any means.
Which is what they need, other than Mark Andrews and Boyle. You can't just throw to the tight ends when you get down in the red zone. That legitimately can't be your only option inside the 20. You gotta have or Marquise Brown just running fast across the end zone, because that's literally all they do.
They honestly should have never traded Hayden Hurst. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't just stick with him and develop him, because that's the kind of guy that Lamar needed.
Well, it still goes back to the receiver part. You know, when your tight ends are the only guys you target in the red zone because they're the only guys with size.
Defense just pinches.
Yeah, and not to mention, All right, so you got Mark Andrews, who's a better route runner and has better hands than Hayden. And then you have Boyle. Boyle is like literally like a tackle, and Nick Boyle. And so it was just like, all right, this guy's kind of the odd man out. He's not better than either one of these tight ends at two major categories. So we can move him.
Yeah, Lamar needs a physical receiver who can, who can be a red zone threat.
They've got the chance to get one this year for sure in this draft, most certainly.
Well, he needs a receiver who, when he's doing his scramble drill, that he knows he can throw it up to, and he can come down with it, because he needs a Julio type receiver. So if Baltimore could trade up and get like a Jamar Chase, that would be ridiculous.
There's that one kid from I want to say Colorado. No, it's a smaller school. He's really good. Or like who they could really, really, really use is Amon St. Ra out of USC. He's 6'4", still can run too. And
or imagine them getting to Tamorian Terry.
You shut up. He's our third round pick. But yeah. So yeah, they definitely. I mean, the Ravens draft defense exceptionally well. I think the Ravens are going to take a step back this year. I honestly do. They've lost. They keep losing pass rushers. They keep losing. They can't keep them there. Their middle linebackers haven't panned out. They still got a great secondary, but
And what's his name's getting more and more predictable on the offensive side.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, for those of y'all listening, if y'all never saw that, look up Greg Roman predictable 2020 Ravens and just watch those clips. Trey Hendrickson from the Saints got off and signed with the Bengals. He fills the void that Carl Lawson left, who recently signed a 3-year deal, $45 million with the Jets. And then I did not know about this, but apparently there's growing speculation that Larry Fitzgerald may come out of retirement.
Don't you dare, Fitz.
And sign with the Buccaneers and ring chase.
Oh my God.
Don't you dare. I will lose so much respect for you if you do that.
That's sickening.
I'd rather you sign with the Patriots than sign with damn Tampa.
He needs to go and just sit his ass down at home. just chill out. Go help some kids or something.
Yeah, I mean, he came back so many years for the Cardinals and didn't ring chase. It would be shocking to see him do it now, especially after he retires. Like, that would definitely tarnish the way he's viewed. I don't think you can do anything to tarnish the Cardinals' view of him or Cardinals fans' views of him, because he just did so much for that franchise. But I think overall, people were like, "Oh, you got a ring? Okay."
Right. I mean, I would rather ring chase with like Pat Mahomes or something. But I know that his I don't know if they could really use him in Kansas City. I don't know.
I'd refer to him as the Juwan Howard of football.
Just sitting on the bench.
He's going to come back and coach his alma mater in college and turn him into a beast.
Pittsburgh.
Well, but yeah, he might actually do that. But as far as football, to be that guy who doesn't get off the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl, you're up by 25, and it's like I'm getting my reps in. Yes, yes, I got to snap in the Super Bowl.
1 catch, 7 yards.
Some of those Randy Moss numbers. What was it when he played for the Ravens?
Oh man!
Or who did he play for? Was it for the no? Who was it?
Who
was he playing for in his last? Was it the Ravens?
Who?
He played Niners late in his career. Randy.
Okay,
Moss.
yeah, he went to the Super Bowl, right? With wasn't he on that Super Bowl team that lost in the blackout?
Maybe.
Let me see.
I'm looking at it right now. He ended his career
back in Minnesota, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, he was. He was on the 2012 49ers?
Yeah, on that team with Kaepernick.
Did I not? How did I miss that?
He didn't really play.
He played
was
2 games.
He was Juwan Howarding it. But I don't know how he could have foretold that team would have made the damn Super Bowl. But
He played 2 games and scored 3 touchdowns, though. Wow, how do I not remember that?
But because in the playoff run, he was essentially a non-factor.
yeah, he wasn't a part of the story.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
That was his chance. That was his one chance to get a ring finally.
Well,
it's second chance. Second chance. The other one, he mailed it in.
Let's talk about our Falcons, though, before we go to break here, and let's really start talking about some of these signings that we've made. We made a couple more since the last time we've been on. I don't think we had signed Mike Davis yet since when we last broadcast.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
About it.
We did?
We
Okay.
talked about it. Yep.
All right, good. Well, the biggest one since then is Fabian Moreau. And he is a corner that played for the Washington football team these last couple of years.
Safety.
What's that?
Safety.
Well, he played safety. He played a little bit of safety.
Yeah.
He played mainly corner. He played a lot of slot for him. He played outside as well. And he played some safety. They moved him all around trying to find the best spot for him. He's an absolute burner when it comes to corners. He's very fast. Has a lot of talent on the outside, not that great in the slot, and had so results as a free safety. It's hard to really make what's what of that. Are we going to try and play him in the slot? Have we lost faith in Sheffield or Oliver in the slot, since that's where he really finished the year and played much better? Are we going to play him outside? Are we playing him at safety? So I'm going to be really interested to see how we use him. Or is he just really a depth signing at this point? Have we just gone, okay, you didn't live up to what you were supposed to be as a second-round pick, and, we'll add you as that veteran who can step in and play significant snaps if, one of our guys goes down, or in the event of someone needing a breather. What do you guys think of Moreau, and where do you think he will play?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think in Dean P's scheme, versatility is key. So a player like Fabian Moreau, who's played some safety and played corner, I think he actually will be the free safety. I think Pease will use his corner ability though to create some creative matchups, kind of like with the Patriots, how they used McCourty and how they used him safety, but they'd also can man him up with some certain receivers, and he can, because he's just smart. He's smart enough and athletic enough to stay with receivers or tight ends. So I think that's how we're going to use him.
I agree with that.
Astute observation, Marco.
Marco, you might have said ditto.
I was going to say echo.
I'll have what he's having. Also, Deion Jones recently restructured, freeing up about $4 million more for us and moving $4 million of his guaranteed money on down the line. So we do have some room to make a move, maybe pick up another guy or two, if depending on what we can get him on. So it doesn't appear that we are done making moves. So hopefully we can sign one more veteran or maybe two and get them in here for relatively cheap and give them a chance and, just fill in some spots on this defense that we're going to need some help with. Maybe an edge rusher, maybe another middle linebacker, offensive lineman, who knows? Oh, yeah, we signed, I can't think of his name, Gabe Andrews, I believe his name is, the backup, the offensive guard, who was a backup for the Jets this last year. And really, that's all it is. He's going to be like a swing guy for us.
Wowzers. He's a backup on the Jets.
I'm sorry, no, I misspoke. He played for the Jets, but he'll be a backup here.
Okay. I was about to say, damn, that's high. Aiming high.
Yeah, he was okay. He's kind of like the guy that we picked up this last year, and I'm blanking on his name. He was the guard / center / tackle that came from the Packers.
Oh yeah. I can't remember his name either.
He didn't play at all for us though.
Well, I'll say this too. Debo restructured. A lot of people are wondering why they haven't tried to restructure Julio. And I think
they're afraid of Julio. They're afraid to call him, to talk to him.
I think the problem is if they don't want to push more money later in a 30-plus-year-old receiver's contract. So even if Julio's healthy this year and balls out, great. But I think they still love the flexibility they have in the near future with him. So, I think after this year, I think if they cut him next year or traded him next year, it wouldn't be that big of a cap hit for us. So, I think the point they don't want to push any more money back in his contract. They'd rather just let him get what he's going to get, and keep that cap flexibility to be able to potentially move him, or hell, if you want to let him retire or whatever. But yeah, I think
I agree.
Yeah, they just don't want to hurt that flexibility they have with them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Restructuring means you intend to keep a player. You're investing in that player for a longer time. That's why we restructured Jake. We restructured Matt. Even though it made a lot of people who understand what this means unhappy, because it's all but essentially guaranteed that we're not drafting a quarterback at 4, and that Matt will be our starter for the next 2 years at least. So yeah, Julio has already shown signs of wearing down a little bit physically, but it would be nice to keep Julio until he absolutely can't go anymore. But I don't think.
I'd love for him to retire a Falcon, but
hold up your shirt.
Julio strikes me as the kind of guy who might retire before he goes and plays somewhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. If they just were like, yeah, we're thinking about releasing you. He just said, I'm done anyway. I'm tired of the, he's taking a lot of hits, courtesy of Matt Ryan throwing high over the middle. But yeah, I
honestly goes to the Chiefs or something. It's
my, bruh, watch him go to the Chiefs and win a championship
at age 35.
Pat Mahomes just throws it up, and all of a sudden you just see him
come down.
Don't y'all stop. Just don't, because you've spoken too much other shit into fruition, and I don't know. My heart can't take that.
Julio Jones with his 3rd touchdown in the Super Bowl. It's unprecedented.
Harvey, that was actually what I was about to bring up. So the last person that is likely to be restructured, if we were going to do any type of restructuring to bring anybody else in, is going to be Grady Jarrett, of course, just because he's young, he's still very good, he's got a huge cap hit this year, and it just makes sense for us to extend him if at all possible, because players don't have to restructure if they don't have to, a la Tyreek Hill. When the Chiefs came to him and he was like, nah, I'm good, I'm keeping my money.
Georgia boy,
I'm not restructuring. You signed me to this contract. That means it's my contract.
But they wanted their restructure to be more like him taking a pay cut, not just pushing money back. No. You paid me. I got what I pay. I make what I owe when I'm owed, so I'm gonna take it.
Hell, I don't blame them. Imagine going to work and they're like, "Hey, we want to make more of this thing, so can you take a pay cut?" It's like,
no.
Nah, find that money elsewhere.
Yeah.
Especially when you're one of their top performers. It's like, go ask Steve from accounting. Leave me alone.
Oh yeah, remember that tackle that missed the entire Super Bowl? Yeah, why don't you ask him to give a pick?
Well, they're both gone. The Chiefs got rid of Schwartz.
They got rid of them.
Oh, wow.
What's his face?
They didn't have to ask them anything.
Yeah, they're both gone. They cut them. They cut both their tackles.
God.
So
Pat Mahomes is crying right now.
literally, he's like, "Why?" Having flashbacks to the Super Bowl every night. I hate my life.
I hate my life.
Bruh, so speaking of which, I would not be surprised if they made a splash trade up to get one of those tackles.
Well, I don't see anybody really moving up that much for offensive linemen this year, just because this is a extremely deep offensive line class. Like you can get quality offensive line starters in the 3rd round this year.
Watch. The Chiefs trade up to pick number 2 for Penei Sewell.
Jesus. That would be insane. They would have to give up so much, though, and they're already
Give up their entire. Our team is strong. We need offensive linemen now.
well. Their only weakness is still going to be tackles because they get Tardif back, like the doctor who opted out to fight COVID.
Yeah.
Yes, our starting right guard is a doctor, and he fought COVID this year.
Well, that's very comparable to the Ravens offensive lineman who retired so he could be a mathematician.
I missed that one.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, like when I legitimately
Walk into his room, giant chalkboards of.
No, seriously, that's legitimately what he's doing now. He retired early so he could do math for a living.
What was that show, Numbers, where the guy was like some nerdy mathematician used math to solve crimes? Do y'all remember that show?
Yeah,
it was like a CBS show or something.
He's like Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting.
I wonder if he changed the world yet.
Oh man.
Speaking of bad shows on CBS or ABC, Marco, and we'll go to break on this one. Is anyone actually watching Queen Latifah's new show?
Equalizer.
The Equalizer? Because I remember watching TV the other day, and they were like, one of the best premieres ever for any show. And I was like, huh? Are they talking? Because I heard the audio as I was doing something. And they're like critics rave over their performances. This show is doing amazing things. And I look up and I see Queen Latifah. I'm like, is the sync off? I was like, is the audio, is this the right commercial? Because I'm like, people are actually watching this and believing Queen Latifah is the Equalizer.
I mean, they're the kings and queens of hyperbole over there, or ABC, CBS, all those 3-letter networks. But no, man, I'm tired of police tropes and all these lazy ass shows that they always try to recycle, where throw X into cop roll and we have a show. It's like, I'm so tired of that.
Yo, I'm Ice-T. I'm a hardcore killer, man. Hey, I'm Ice-T. I'm here to audition for the police officer position.
Not even SVU. That's SVU is a good show, but that's that's all about creepy sex crimes and weird things like that.
Yeah.
All of that. All the stuff that no one really should be watching, but they put on TV for people to consume.
Dick Wolf.
Why am I so depressed? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because you watch nothing but the deplorable things that happen in society all day long.
Right. Little kids getting.
Let's not get demonetized.
Yeah, no.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. Hopefully when I come back, I'll have headphones again because I've been charging them and you won't hear the echo and I won't have to mute myself every time you guys talk. Or this comedy of errors will continue and maybe my computer will explode in the second half. Stay tuned to find out. What are you going to say, Micah?
The system is down. The system is down.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
the star on that team?
What team was it?
Theo Pinson? Who the hell was the star on that North Carolina team
What year?
that won the championship?
The last one.
Oh God, yeah, I don't remember.
I don't even remember the last year they won.
Oh, it was that guy who Dallas drafted, like Brandon Wright or something.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we're back from the break here. Let's talk some basketball, Marco.
138-32. 32. Oops, talk.
Do.
All right, so because it is going on right now, I have to continually rope March trashness into my basketball conversation.
Like talking college basketball.
It's so bad. So basically, today, so the scheduling has been all. Oh wait, let's go ahead and start it up. So this is the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint.
Burn.
Yes, sir. And unlike any other year of Final Four basketball or March Madness basketball, besides last year when there was no tournament, the scheduling has been all messed up. So traditionally, you would have seen a Thursday, Friday, a second round, and then you would see Saturday, Sunday for the Elite Eight, right? This year, it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for the games deciding who's going to play in the Final Four. So as of right now, we got Gonzaga, we got Baylor and Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Baylor and Houston are matching up, and it's going to be Gonzaga versus the winner of Michigan and UCLA.
UCLA. Okay, so we're at this point. That's crazy. A Baylor-Houston matchup. Texas in the building. So I'll be honest. I haven't really watched these games. I didn't watch the Elite Eight games because I did watch some of them. I watched. What game was I watching on this weekend? I forget.
Was it Florida State getting whooped by Michigan?
Honestly, didn't watch that one.
Or what about Bama?
I think it was okay. I saw
Bama,
the Bama.
UCLA was a hell of a game.
I saw some of the Sweet 16 games. I did not see any of the Elite Eight games so far. So what are y'all opinions on what's going on? We all pretty much still pick Gonzaga, but
yeah,
how y'all feel about what's going on?
I mean, I love March Madness. This is what it's all about. I mean, NBA regular season games are far more boring to me than March Madness, just because the NBA games, the season's so long that it doesn't really matter, or most of the games don't really matter, and then they don't play as hard. You have people like Kawhi taking off, but March Madness, man, this is like the epitome of people just trying their absolute hardest at all times. And that's why you get all these upsets, man. That's why it's called March Madness, is because you have these schools that are, from the WAC and the SWAC and all this stuff, come in here and beat these big teams that they really have no business competing with. But basketball's that one sport that you can really see those type of upsets from smaller, less talented schools, just because they go there and they buy into the system that they're playing in and they execute it flawlessly. So
and also there's a factor of kids staying who aren't good enough to, or a lot of those kids who jump anyway aren't good enough anyway.
Exactly.
But the ones who stay for 2-3 years, those are usually the ones who end up making deep runs because they're actual teams.
That's why you should never, ever hope your team drafts a March Madness hero that's like above a sophomore.
Right.
Just because they're only good because they've been there. They're like 22 playing against 18 and 19-year-olds.
I will say some of those guys do end up being pretty solid.
Yeah, Frank Kaminsky's been amazing
in the NBA. Like them, what's the name of that dude who played for West Virginia who was like balding?
Joe Harris?
No, not Joe Harris. He's a black. I forget what his name is. He played
the one who's
he's a point guard. He's a backup right now in Phoenix. Like he's solid.
The one whose leg exploded on him?
No, he's been.
You're talking about the guy from Louisville.
Oh yeah.
Sure. But yeah. Anyway, basically, like you're right. You shouldn't. But at the same time, the players who stay usually end up being 20 and up. Like 20 to second round picks. Like you never really get like juniors and seniors in the top 15. Like unfortunately.
Wait, when didn't Kawhi play? How many years in?
I think he played 2 years
Oh, okay.
at San Diego State. But yeah.
You said
I
he's a
don't know,
backup where? In Houston?
In Phoenix.
Phoenix? No. I was just on their depth chart. Sorry, go ahead.
What was it that caused Florida State to get decimated like that?
The way we build teams, really, we don't have a true point guard, and if you're going to win in the tournament, you got to have good to great point guard play, and you can't give up offensive rebounds. Those are two things that we did poorly this whole season, and that what will cost you in the tournament. But not to disrespect Michigan. Michigan played an absolute gem of a game. Juwan Howard has really turned that team around. He's really made that team believe in themselves because talent-wise, they're missing their best player right now still. Livers has been out. He's not going to play in this game either. And he was by far their best player this whole season. But against us, one of the most, probably the deepest team in the NCAA, it didn't matter. They executed flawlessly. Their offense was a beautiful thing to watch. They got open shots. They just executed perfectly. And their big men just played really, really good. They have Mo Wagner's younger brother, Franz Wagner.
Hey,
Wagner.
He played an excellent game. And they just killed us in every facet. They played great defense. They got defensive rebounds. They got a ton of offensive rebounds, and they hit their shots. Mm-hmm. And we rely too much on length and defensive turnovers to win games. Our half-court sets suck.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Javon Carter, by the way. That's what I was talking about. He got buried on the bench now that Chris Paul's there, but he was pretty decent when
so I'll say this. Three of my final four from my bracket is still alive. And that's all I really care about.
Who, Houston?
Houston, Michigan, and Gonzaga are still alive.
Who was your fourth?
Who was the other one? Purdue?
The fourth one I put in was Villanova, but they got beat this weekend.
Nova's one of those teams.
All right, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we'll keep an eye out for what's going on here. I'm assuming that the championship game will be next Monday.
Yeah, it typically is.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye out. Still pulling for the Zags. Pulling for Michigan tonight. That'd be good for me if they win. So, moving on. This is a good way to segue into our first item here. Wait, hold on. Let me do a time check.
Time check.
Time check. And the time check is 1:46:13. 1:46. Let's say 20. Okay. Yeah. So the first story here is that.
Come on, Mako. You're slowing us down.
I'm saying this time check thing will help us in the future because, like, I'm not gonna comb through a 30-minute video and try a 3-hour video and try to find where everything was. But so the first story. So UCLA's coach, UCLA who's playing tonight, was recently complaining about the fact that the G League has been poaching poaching players, period. But in particular, they had a signee or a tentative commit named Deshaun Nix, who is currently in the G League. And I want to bring the question to the table. What do you think, especially, I bash NCAA a lot because the quality has diminished. And we don't get that same feeling we used to get, like where you grow really familiar with a player and you're like looking forward to watch certain players on certain teams, especially like when we were younger. But what do you think this means for the future of the NCAA now that the G League is paying these guys to come and play?
The NCAA is dead, and as far as being a premier talent league, they're not it anymore. And you're going to get these guys occasionally who do value in education or do value, they want to go play for the UNCs or the Duke, play for Krzyzewski's and things like that. But in terms of competing with young kids who, are broke teenagers and saying, hey, look, you can go struggle at this university academically. You can struggle financially. You can struggle in a lot of ways. Or you can come here and get a $500,000 contract and come play with us and develop with better players and better coaches. I mean, the NCAA is either going to have to start paying their players or they're going to lose them all. And I don't care what this coach says. Of course he's going to complain. He's losing talented players. But I don't care. Sucks to suck, man.
And despite that, they still made it as an 11 seed all the way to the Elite Eight. So it's a funny time to complain. I guess
they've gotten hella lucky, man.
He's anticipating a waxing tonight, I guess, because it's a hell of a time to complain.
So here's the thing. All right. The state of California apparently signed the legislation that they would allow college athletes to profit off of their likeness, but it doesn't come into effect until 2023. All right. That'll help once they do it. But the problem is, like I said, the NCAA, that amateurism is so strict. And like even if you can talk to the wrong person and next thing you know, your amateurism is in jeopardy. And
hey,
like bro, like legitimately, if you have a meeting with a guy who's an agent, then they can look at James Wiseman. Look at what happened to James Wiseman this last year. Penny Hardaway helped him move into school and then took a job at Memphis. And then all of a sudden his eligibility got questioned. So the rules are so strict on these kids. And meanwhile, it's like, so why not just bypass the whole college system and all that strict garbage that you subject them to, and I can just make money, even if it's $50,000-$60,000 a year. I can still make money and play basketball, make a living, and not to mention it teaches these kids how to manage money at an earlier age, because now if you've gone from not having money to millions, it's a struggle. But when you at least made some money and learned something about budgeting and stuff like that, then when you finally get to the point you can get to the NBA and you make millions, you at least have some kind of basis to know what it's like to have some money in your pocket, as opposed to nothing to everything, having everything at your disposal.
Yeah, I just feel like the NCAA is definitely, 2023 is just such they're just waiting for any excuse to renege on that promise. But I think that, obviously the G League offer will not be extended to everybody. You have to be, like the only people who probably could have taken that who didn't were maybe Cade Cunningham, and then the point guard from Gonzaga. Maybe the USC guy too. There's like a handful of players who probably could have done that, but so I don't know if it's going to end NCAA. They're still going to have their talent, but the talent pool is definitely going to diminishing year after year after year. And we'll see what kind of bags they drop off on these kids, but I don't know if they're going to be able to offer $500K. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is funny because the G League actually gives these kids more money than they give their average guy. So your average guy, I think the G League makes from 20 to 50K. Yeah. And they give these blue chippers 500, so it's a win-win for them. Like Ryan said, like they're going to come in prepared. They're going to come in and be able to make a difference in their first, as opposed to looking like, like Okongwu and all confused and stuff. And like what is basketball?
Like, I'm a first round pick.
Right. That's the highlight of my career so far. But so yeah, I think that will it'll slowly start to chip away at their armor, and eventually, go ahead.
But no, I was just gonna say the 2023 thing was only for the state of California. They're the only state that's actually passed that legislation. I don't know if any other state, and the NCAA hasn't made any change. They've hinted that they might make changes otherwise where the kids can be able to make some kind of financial, because they know in the long run not allowing kids to profit off of their name is going to hurt the industry of the NCAA more than it's going to hurt the kids.
He said,
So I can predict.
He said a Congo who beats his head on the backboard in his free time. That's a little too productive for a Congo.
I know, right? I wish he'd do that. But what I can predict by 2030, USC will have 2 national championships in football. If they're able to start paying kids, like, it's going down.
Right. You're not going to be able to compete against that at all.
Right.
Bruh, like what Dr. Dre donated $70 million to USC alone.
Why?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
He's got a scholarship.
Go there.
They gave him a
doctorate,
yeah.
an honorary degree or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money though to do to a rich ass school. Like
now, what I would love to see though is them to be able to.
Isn't that where his kids went?
Is it?
I don't know where his kids went.
Yeah, I don't know about his kids.
But imagine if they allow players to pay or the athletes to be paid, like, the amount of money that I think Deion Sanders could bring down to like Jackson State, and like, bruh, that could be crazy.
Nah,
he'd have to do that at his
State
own personal
coach.
account.
Y'all not gonna give him that head coaching job. You hope they do, but
I'm gonna manifest this shit.
He said, "Book it."
They
need to though. They really do. And let that man let him be the coach for the rest of his life. Like all this new stuff where
he's a good coach too.
That's what I'm saying. Where we try to change coaches every 2 years because the coach isn't doing. Just let a coach like stick around. Like that's what leads to championships. Some type of stability.
Bruh.
Says Mark Richt.
We've seen it so many times where a coach is on the right path but doesn't get over the hump. They fire him, and the next coach benefits with his players, and then immediately, like, look at Notre Dame. Tyrone Willingham did a solid job at Notre Dame, and they fired him. Brought in, was it not Brian Kelly?
It was Chip Kelly. No, it was Brian Kelly, wasn't it?
Was it
after Billingham?
No, it was Weiss.
Yeah.
It was Charlie Weiss.
Weiss. It was Charlie Weiss. He took all those guys that Willingham had brought in, and then put the NFL system in there, and then they wind up, competing for a national championship.
Well, even Kirby. I mean, Kirby made it to the Natty game with Rick's players. So, he hadn't had his number 1 recruit classes in there yet.
Or
did he have one?
We changed a lot.
Because all those running backs, like the running backs that led y'all there, were Rick's guys.
Yeah, but that first season we had.
Didn't Fromm also commit to Rick?
No,
it
was Easton.
You're right. Because he went and flew down. He flew out to Easton and made him breakfast.
Yeah. Easton committed to us.
What coach is going to do this for you?
Yeah, it was Easton that committed to us, and then he decided to stay after Kirby took the job, and then he started. We went 6-6 or.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
let's get back.
There's a lot of football talk.
But so moving on. So today, or it was either today or like yesterday, Utah's plane had to turn back around after striking a flock of birds. The only thing that can stop Utah this season is a flock of birds. But these birds haven't been the only thing that they've been killing. They have continued to ravage opponents and are currently leading the NBA in point differential with 9.5 points per game, 14.7 at home, plus 20 in their last 3 games. So I want to ask y'all, why are the Jazz so good? And are these guys actually title contenders?
Ooh, pick me.
Brian.
Shaquille O'Neal. All right, moving on.
Hey, he did motivate him though.
He motivated the shit out of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy.
Oh yeah.
That they did not start their run. They did it. They were okay, and then Shaq opened his mouth, and they went boom. And they
well, so off. They were when he said that they were already the number 1 seed, but not a convincing one.
Right.
But after that, they definitely started like piling on like 20-point wins on everybody. And like, what the hell is this team? Like, how are they so good? I just don't even get it. Is it really Bogdanovich? Was that the difference? Like,
I mean, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah. I mean, they have a lot of good pieces there. They were a team that I thought had a lot of good talent, but, you know, it was just a lot of guys they relied on didn't know how to close out games. And now, you know, Mike Conley's healthy, who Mike Conley has a lot of experience, playoff and everything. So he's have
a horse
him
champion.
Horse champion. Second 3-point champion.
Yeah. So dude is, I mean, like you can learn from him because he's been in a lot of playoff. He played a lot of playoff games. They haven't gone deep in the playoffs with Memphis, but he played in a whole lot of playoff games. Then, like I said, I think Shaq lit a fire under Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and they are playing consistently at a level that they haven't at any point in their career. Now, I mean, they both could go out and get you buckets, but like I said, ever since he lit that fire under him, they're like, it's every night they're going. It's start to finish. Now, my only question is, will they hold up? Because
I think they're gonna hold up, man.
I mean, physically, 70 after 72 games and whatnot. Will they hold up, and like will you start to see some injuries, some little nagging injuries that might slow them down a little bit? That's my only question.
Is someone holding someone captive over there? It sounded like someone trying to escape a closet. Who was that?
Where?
I don't know. I just heard dum. Let me out.
So what is y'all's ceiling for Utah?
Ceiling?
Mm-hmm.
Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking that L.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. So let's move on to some of the trades. So Thursday was the trade deadline. A lot of big things happened, even one involving our Hawks. So let's just run through some of these things that happened. Orlando Magic traded Aaron Gordon to Denver in exchange for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, first-round pick. Man. Houston Rockets dealt a very unhappy Victor Oladipo to the Miami Heat in exchange for Kelly Olynyk. Avery Bradley. Isn't Avery Bradley? Wait, okay. I think Avery Johnson. I didn't even know Avery Bradley was on the Heat. Nikola Vucevic went to the Bulls for Wendell Carter, Otto Porter, as well as 2 first-round picks. They also picked up Daniel Tice, which was an underrated signing, in my opinion, or an underrated acquisition. The Lakers didn't trade for anybody, but they went and picked up Andre Drummond, who's going to play for the first time, I guess, tomorrow night. So in terms of these moves, which one do you think impacted a team the most and put them in a position where they went from, okay, this team's either or just like changed their trajectory the most? Which of these do you think did that? Micah?
It's hard to say though. I think as far as possibly changing trajectory, I think Andre Drummond to the Lakers will change their trajectory because of the injuries, and it gives them another dominant big, like replace the role of Dwight Howard, and they lost it with Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Because who's their center now again?
It was who was it? It was
It's almost like Harold is playing center sometimes.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now. It is it was Marc Gasol.
Well, he hasn't really been playing.
Yeah. So
he was their starter though.
Yeah, but it gives you a very, very good rebounder of I mean, he can defend the rim. I wouldn't consider him an elite rim defender, but yeah, he can defend the rim. But yeah, it just gives you a big who can score. Especially now that LeBron and AD are out for a little while, so gives them another body. But I think I don't know whether Oladipo or Aaron Gordon to me is important though, because both of them, Aaron Gordon gives the Nuggets a lot of athleticism at the 4, and while I'm a big Paul Millsaps fan, they needed some youth and athleticism. And
you hate Paul Millsap.
I do.
Victor Oladipo in Miami is a good move. I mean, I still think we get the 4 seed over them, but Victor Oladipo in Miami is a very good pickup.
Right.
I'm gonna go with pretty much all the Bulls moves, but especially Vucevic. I mean, you just traded, like you mentioned, Wendell Carter, a bust and an undersized center for an all-star center who's averaging 24 and 12. I mean, Vooch is vastly underrated in this league. Vooch is an amazing center. He can shoot it. He can actually take you off the dribble a little bit, but his post game is really dirty. Mm-hmm. He passes extremely well, but it gives them that second weapon next to Levine, and it is going to be a great teacher for their bigs down there. Plus, they can now have Thaddeus Young out on the floor and not worry about giving up size, but also not giving up scoring, because when you had Carter and Thad Young out there, I was like, okay, we're kind of sacrificing scoring at the 4 and the 5.
And they're able to move Laurie to the bench.
Exactly.
Vooch and Laurie can't play defense, so you can't start them.
Exactly. I mean, the Bulls have set themselves up to be a really good team for the future. Like, they've been kind of hanging out in mediocrity for quite some time, but you really saw them make that move. But especially Garrett Temple, that's an underrated signing because he's a hell of a shooter.
Right. He's hurt now, though. He got hurt yesterday.
Yeah, I saw. It sucks. But once they get healthy, man, watch out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that assertion. So, to me, I think there was some things. So for instance, I think the deal that Miami made probably puts them back in the top 4 in the East. I think that because that's what they were missing, a go-to, because they thought it was going to be Tyler Hero, but he's taken a huge step back this season. And, putting Victor Oladipo in there, a guy who can get you 22, 25 points a night, it takes a lot of pressure off Jimmy, and Jimmy can just do his dirty work. You know what I mean? Because I thought, to me, the picks that Miami I thought they needed to get Brandon Ingram or try to get Bradley Beal, and that would make them, a notch better than they were last year. So they answered that. I know Depot leaves something to be desired sometimes, and I don't know what it is, but he's a good player.
Harvey burned his Paul Millsap jersey.
Oh,
I think Harvey's just a pyromaniac. He's just like to burn shit.
God damn. So, and then I think with the Bulls, with their moves, they probably move themselves from a fringe 9-10er to a solid 1 through 8er. Or, you know what I mean? By making that move. But I still think watching the Bulls in their first 2 games with Vucevic, they have a lot of problems defending the backcourt.
Yeah,
a lot of problems. Like Zach LaVine can't defend anybody. Like it's almost it's laughable.
But that's part of the reason why I didn't think it was that great. So I was like, you went from a team that struggled to play defense to now a potentially worse defensive team. It's like you went the Brooklyn Nets route. We're gonna load up on offense,
right? Without
no
all
defense.
The talent. and I think it's like I like Tice. I almost like putting Tice in there with Vucevic because then you actually have because Tice can hold his own defensively against most players, except for elite centers. But he can handle all power forwards and he can give most centers in the league a tough night. So. But still, yeah, that backcourt scoring is gonna. That's why I still really can't put the Bulls ahead of the Hawks in terms. You know what I mean? Because we're a better defensive team than them already, and our strength is their weakness. You know what I mean in terms of wing scoring. So
I'm still tripping over your answer. They went from 9-10ish to 1 through 8ish. Yeah, you just put a whole
What's the East?
Right.
They could be anywhere in the East now.
Right. And honestly, they're pretty much like safe as hell at that 10 spot because I think the next teams are like 5 games back. Like Washington's like at the 11 or 12 spot, but they have like 28 losses already. It's like, damn.
I already told you. I called it before the season. As soon as they got Russell Westbrook, I was like, no, it's not going to work. Not going to work.
But to me, honestly, they have no excuse because they literally, I don't know if you want to go as far as saying Bradley Beal's a Hall of Famer yet, but like they literally have 2 all NBA players and they're the worst team in the league besides Minnesota. Like that, they have no excuse. Like I don't know.
Well, yeah, they got 2 all NBA players and then like literally Rui, and that's it.
Hey man, you got 3 players who are very talented. And I mean, I said when they signed Westbrook, because all my friends were like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs." I was like, "No, they're not. They can't defend anybody.
Like, they can't score. They can't do anything. They're terrible."
Because they were thinking like if you add the 30 points of Beal and then you get 20 from Westbrook, then the rest they could figure it out. But at the end of the day,
now we've gotten to 50. Where's your other 70 coming from?
And then when the team's dropping 140 on you,
well, hold on. You've gotten 20 from Westbrook on 28 shots.
Right.
So
but then he has 20 assists. So that's another 40.
How many?
All the Bradley Beal.
Yeah. I think what's his name? What's the Thomas Howard or whatever the center's name is?
Thomas Bryant got hurt.
Thomas Bryant. Oh, I was about to say he might get 6 to Thomas Bryant just because he's so big. He's like Lurch.
Like first week of the season. So.
Wow.
It's been that one dude, like the tall white dude, who dunks on people sometimes, and then that's pretty much it.
But I mean,
they got Alex Lynn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing. You see how mad Westbrook gets at him every time he blows his assist. He gets so mad at Alex Lynn.
Oh man.
It's like now you know how Trey felt his rookie year.
How are you so big and you can't dunk?
Like, why are you so trash? Alex. But yeah, so and then the next question out of this, are we ready to go ahead and just pencil the Lakers and the Nets into the finals? I mean, I didn't even mention that we already talked about Blake, but the Nets went and picked up LA. They're just KD is probably one of the most dishonorable superstars in NBA history. Like this, he took what LeBron did and took it to a whole nother level.
KD is LeBron with salary cap turned off.
Exactly.
Nah, the funny thing is while we were talking about KD, I was just looking at Michael Rappaport posted on Instagram that he's beefing with KD. KD was in his DMs, he calling him a bitch and said he wants to fight him and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's funny.
KD, man. God, for such
KD's
a talented
got the
player.
Softest ego.
He does. Like for such a talented guy, it's like it's funny that it's those 3 on a team though. Like, and they're gonna go out here and lose to LeBron James and make him the official GOAT. I watch it. Book it, book it. Because as soon as LeBron beats these scrubs, in the fucking finals, they're gonna go ahead and be like, no more conversation. He's better than Jordan.
Wait, what's
All-
scrubs?
Huh?
What's scrubs?
I mean, they're not scrubs, but I mean, James Harden's a choker, KD's a snake, and Kyrie believes the earth is flat. So let's let's keep perspective here. Can we go ahead and pencil that in? Lakers Nets finals.
Nah.
No?
Nah.
Who's not making it?
Lakers.
Who's gonna beat the Lakers? The Clippers?
Denver. Aaron Gordon is going to take off. Aaron Gordon averages 35 and 12, all in a Western Conference Finals.
Hey man, honestly though, you're right. Denver probably poses the biggest matchup issues for any team in the West. Because when Michael Porter Jr. is playing well, and now you have Aaron Gordon, Jokic's best center in the game, Jamal Murray. I mean, he turns it on when he wants to, but he's still Canadian. And then I don't know who their shooting guard is.
I'm gonna find the Canadian guest. I'm gonna bring him on. Oh, what was his name? That wouldn't do me well. That wouldn't do me justice. That was that guy that was the number one pick for the Cavs a couple of years ago.
Oh, you're talking about
you got a bunch. Anthony Bennett.
Yeah,
you got
Bennett. That's who it was.
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just talking about
Wiggins
who would be
and-
easy for us to bring on because they're not doing anything right now. They have open time during the middle of the NBA season.
Hey, my favorite band of all time is my favorite living band of all time is a Canadian band. So it's all good.
Who?
I got love for them in different things, just not sports. I don't know. Show me a GOAT Canadian basketball player, and I'll stop this slander.
Hold on. You thought Fred VanVleet was Canadian?
He might as well be, man. Where is he from? North Illinois? That's Canada, man. Anyway, so as we move on, so you said Denver is going to be in the West. You still think it's going to be the Nets in the East?
Possibly. I don't know. That defense, their lack of defense, and KD's fragile ego / health, just in general, body. I'm like, all right, if KD doesn't play now. But
the Nets, KD will play. I mean, that's why he's resting. But the Nets, we can't talk about their defense anymore because in their last 20 games or so, they have vastly improved everything about them as a team.
But I think KD has played so little. He's going to change the rhythm of their team. I do think that, because you got to feed him. You have to give that guy the ball because, 7 foot, can shoot from anywhere, can drive to the basket, can score from all. You're not going to make him. You're not going to not make him the centerpiece of your offense, even though you have James Harden and, and Flat Earther over there. So I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't really trust anybody that argues with Cash Doll on Twitter about them using the moniker KD.
I know, right? Wasn't that what's up with this dude, man?
Soft.
Why does he even know what the hell Cash Doll's doing on a day-to-day basis? Who the hell is Cash Doll?
I know. Honestly, when I saw it, I was like, what?
She doesn't have 2 NBA championships. And
KD is an NBA superstar with the ego, the ego and of a child.
The fragility of a 12-year-old in a Call of Duty lobby.
A figure skater named Tanya Harding.
Bruh, it's it's like watching a child, like a child in Walmart where you tell them they can't get what they want.
But KD is different because he's not a whiner. He's like a sullen sulker. Just
write that down in my journal.
Right, he never forgets.
Burns it. says a curse.
Bruh, not necessarily. He doesn't whine on the court necessarily, but on social media, he whines constantly.
Right. But then it's like even like like a Golden State, like the whole. I was thinking about this today, like how when they were last season or the last season he was there was like Steph Curry came out with his shoe and they asked KD about it. And he pretty much shat on Steph Curry's whole brand. He was like, "Oh, no one's gonna wear that shit." And then I was thinking, if Steph Curry would have came back and clowned his shoes for looking like socks, like he probably would have got mad and left then. Like, you know what I mean? You're just so fragile. Like, man, what
Quick to take his ball and go home.
Right, what an emo stick guy. But let's move on to talking about the Hawks. So I didn't mention that all the moves just so I could keep it for here. So the Hawks have gotten back ATL legend Lemon Pepper Lou, and allegedly he's been in the strip club for the past week because he did not. While I've seen Vucevic play, I saw Aaron Gordon play, all within 2 days after getting drafted. Lemon Pepper Lou was not present for our last 2 games, and I believe that's because he was in his palatial suite at Magic City enjoying some wings. But apparently, I don't know if he's playing tonight. After this is over, I'm gonna put that game on and see. Yeah, we exchanged him for Rajon Rondo, who's been pretty bad all season, and he's a Clipper now. So they halfway answered their point guard liability solution, but we all know Rajon Rondo is not a starter in this league anymore. So that was wishful thinking by them. What do y'all think? Y'all think Lemon Pepper Lou's gonna help us?
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah.
Oh, definitely. Like what?
State explicitly how he will help us.
The funny
basketball.
The funny thing. The funny thing to me is how many media pundits felt like the Clippers won that trade because they got Rajon Rondo, and I'm like, all right, I get it that yes, they needed a point guard, but Rajon Rondo isn't Rajon Rondo of 2010. This is a very different Rajon Rondo. Now he can hit the three occasionally if you leave him open, but you know that wasn't him creating. Like, he's not the guy who can create and get everybody else shots like he used to in Boston. I mean, it's not the same guy.
In Boston?
I'm just saying back in the day when Rajon
okay. I was thinking Lou, you're talking about Rondo. My bad.
No. So meanwhile, we get a Lou Williams who, yes, he's an undersized. He's a small guard. He's another guy we can use as a primary ball handler, especially coming off the bench. He can, when healthy, he can easily score 15 to 20 points at will. He can shoot. And like I said, I mean, you know, now we're in a position where when, you know, our backups are in the game, you have somebody you trust with the ball who can run the offense as opposed to Brandon Goodwin. I'm sorry.
Brandon Goodwin has not played for a long time.
Like at least 20 games.
Oh, no. He played the other night.
He played the last night because we were getting waxed by 30.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, now that Rondo is gone and you know, Chris Dunn just nobody knows.
He's supposed to be back in a week.
Oh God, we'll see if his knee doesn't have a relapse. So yeah, but like I said, you get a trustworthy, experienced veteran who's also a good leader in the locker room. From everything I've heard, you know, as long as he keeps them out of Magic City, you know, as long as he keeps our players out of Magic City, keeps them away from catching COVID, I think it's a huge addition to our team.
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely help. He'll be a nice addition to run alongside like Herter to keep an offensive threat out there, because Herter's so hot and cold, man. Herter can put 20 on you in one night, and then the next he'll go, you know, like 2 for 6, and then check out of the game because he's scared. But you know, you essentially traded away 3 points per game for 13. You can't it's not a bad trade, even if he doesn't quite live up to that. If he just scores 9 points per game, you tripled what you were getting out of Rondo. So,
right, and neither of them played defense. And so
right.
it's
Rondo only tries to play the passing lanes, and that's really it. Like,
right, he gets down the stance and acts like he's playing defense, but then they just go right by.
Look out, Clint.
And then my other question, just to wrap this Hawks thing up, like, when I watch Hawks games, and Denver was an exceptional. Oh wait, real quick on Lou Will. Yeah, I think he'll help. I think that in the playoffs, especially, he's the kind of player who can win you a game or two in the playoffs with some crazy 24-point game, 28-point game, and I could still see that from Lou, especially playing back here. So, but
hold on.
Uh-huh.
He contemplated retiring before.
I know I didn't mention that, but yeah. So allegedly he had said that if the Clippers had ever traded him, he would retire. But they got that together before. If anywhere, I think like this was probably the one exception. Like if he would have gotten traded to where like Orlando or or Toronto, Tampa, he would have been like peace. But
yeah, they trade him to Atlanta. He's like, oh, I get to eat the lemon pepper wings. Oh,
I'm coming home, baby.
I'm home, baby.
Off seasons all year now. So yeah.
What you finna do after the game? Yo, I'm about to head over to Magic City, get me some wings, and head
every
to the
home
crib.
game.
I just hope Trae Young does not hang out with Lou Williams because
I don't know. Maybe we'll give him some edge.
Give him some edge. I don't know. Like Trae Young seems like a stay home kind of guy, and I need him to stay that way. Just go to the gym, bro. But unless he wants some of that Jordan edge where you're staying out till 3 a.m, get 4 hours of sleep, and get right back at it. So anyway, watching that Denver game, it was pretty unfortunate. We got blitzkrieged. We won the first quarter, 34-30, and then we got outscored in every subsequent quarter by 10 or more. So yeah, man, the referees, man. I want to talk about the referees and how Trae Young and Steve Nash, ever since that Steve Nash comment, I feel like the referees have gone out of their way to make sure that Trae does not get continuation calls. Because literally in this game, he literally did that, his trademark, blah, 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 get the foul, put it up. It goes in on the floor. Next play down, Paul Millsap does the same exact thing. Count it. I'm like, and then this is all game. Like this, I just don't understand. Like, is it a Trae Young thing, or is this just a continuation of the Hawks getting no respect from referees ever?
I think you nailed it. I think it was 100% Steve Nash getting in their heads and making them aware. Because, like, no matter, as a human, like, you may be able to say, oh, yeah, I don't take that into account. But, like, subconsciously, it registers up here. And, like, you think about that. It's the same reason that James Harden gets these calls. People hear it, they think they're supposed to do it, and they do it. They may not know that they're doing it, but I forget the effect, what it's called in psychology. I'll look it up here in a second when Mike is talking, but it happens all the time. You're influenced by things that you don't think you're influenced by. And making a statement like that publicly, Steve Nash knew what he was doing.
Right.
So
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Steve Nash kind of put the hex on them, so they can, like you said, they became aware of it and slowed down on it. And also, I do think, it's just almost a Hawks bias where when we're playing teams, we never, especially good teams like that, we never tend to get the calls that we should get that could, potentially make a difference in the game. I just think it's a little bit of both. It's, the Steve Nash and the Atlanta bias.
Yeah, I agree. And I almost think to a point, like sometimes I watch these games and I always think back to what Tim Donaghy said when he was exposing the NBA and all the refs. And he was pretty much like, they would, so like Kobe would play a game and he wouldn't get enough foul. He'd only go to the foul line 4 times. So the NBA would literally send the referees a memo and be like, okay, make sure Kobe gets to the line tonight. You know what I mean? And so the next game he would come and get 16 foul shots. I almost feel like they send memos like, make sure Trey doesn't get any of these shots, because they probably, like you said, they probably heard what Steve Nash said. And they were like, oh, he's ruining the game. You know what I mean? All this bullshit. So they're like, okay, well, make sure he doesn't get those calls. You know what I mean? I don't care how many of them he makes off the dribble in the motion of shooting on the floor. It's like, it's just frustrating, man. But hey, man, underdog status. That's how we live as Atlanta fans. And that's pretty much it for the. Did you find the word, by the way? All right.
No, I'm still looking it up.
Okay, it's okay. So that pretty much does it for the hoops talk, for the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint.
So this brings us to the suicide squeeze. So yeah, not much. It's not much to cover. First we'll start with the Braves talk. So the Braves option Kyle Wright to AAA. While he showed signs of potentially being a very productive starter. I mean, he just couldn't cut it to make that top 5, so he'll be optioned. So the rotation currently looks like Fried, Morton, Smiley, Anderson, and Wilson. Whereas Anderson should be the 3, and then Smiley. And I've heard that Bryce Wilson's been playing so well that he might beat out Smiley for that number 4 starter role. So, which is always good when you have a young pitcher that's throwing well. So all right, so 2020 home run leader Luke Voigt is out 4 to 6 weeks with a torn meniscus. So that's big news. So and then last major news is the MLB All-Star game might be on ice because they were set to have it in Truist Park this year, but due to Governor Kemp signing the bill restricting all the voter laws and implementing all these stringent voter laws, the MLB is contemplating whether they want to have the game here, which, it's not a very, considering, baseball as being not the most diverse of games. It's actually surprising to me that they've even contemplated this stance, considering. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, man, I'm with it. If we want to be on that fuck shit, punish us.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really do something like this. It was just like when North Carolina was doing that whole bathroom bill. Yeah. And the NCAA was like, whoa, how about we just take all your tournaments away then?
Yeah.
And so the ACC pulled out and all that type of stuff. So there's a way to monetarily hurt these states and, these governors outside of just their voters. So good for the MLB.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Also, you did forget to mention that Mike Soroka is actually gonna start in the last 3 preseason games.
Yeah.
Or unless he already did it, I'm not sure what that.
It was supposed to be tonight. Tonight was our last preseason game. He threw some other things.
Yeah. He I mean, he still won't be ready. He still won't be ready until I heard
said late
April, early May maybe. Yeah. But yeah. So that I'm really looking forward to him coming back and being at his best, because where you add him to that line, that starting 5, or hell, we could make it a starting 6. It'd be just pure nastiness. But that concludes the Suicide Squeeze.
Anybody lightning round question?
I got one. So, I was thinking, like, certain things that I've heard. So, like, there's a quote that stands out to me, and it kind of actually that's a hard question for us to pull off. If I asked, it'd probably be too deep for folks to kind of think of. But
appreciate you, Harvey.
Yeah.
He said he loves the podcast. We love you too, Harvey.
Thank you, Harvey.
Thank you.
Get some merch, man. Find us on. You can find our merch on our Facebook page and check it out. And we got hoodies, t-shirts. But yeah, sorry, Micah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what
I had to talk to the people.
No, you're good. I was gonna ask about like a quote that could probably like sum you up best, but that's probably a hard thing to do, even like on the spot. So
let's get philosophical.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little too deep for like quick lightning round.
I got one that's sports related. Just thought about it.
Let's do it.
All right, so we've seen it happen a lot over these last couple of years. Now that these prospects are getting these televised pro days and things like that. So do pro days actually demonstrate talent? Does it show how good a player is? We won't get to the other part of it. You can give that in your answer if you want. But do pro days matter? That's what I want to know.
Do you mean in terms of like the career they have or their draft position?
Like, does a pro day demonstrate how good a player actually is? Like running around on an empty field with shorts on and no pads, throwing against no defense.
I'd say like it is like 33% accuracy. I'd say that it gives you some idea of how good a player is because they're just able to show you their pure intangibles. But at the same time, obviously, there's 66% of what actually happens in a game and what goes on in their mind that you can't find out in a pro day.
I actually agree with Marco. I think they matter in the event that they give you an idea of the talent base that you're dealing with. And granted, I mean, I actually like the pro days a little more to the combine, throwing with receivers you're completely unfamiliar with. So timing and stuff, you can see timing on routes and things like that, or whatever, quarterbacks and how they their ability to throw. You could see that Ken Dorsey couldn't throw the ball, 15 yards.
Man. So
yeah.
Like, this guy is going to be a high school coach. I can see it now.
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think they display the basis of the talent, so you can see the foundation that you're working with. But it still doesn't show. Film shows a lot more. That's the only thing.
Yeah. I would say I should have probably asked as well, like the combine, because what triggered this for me today was listening to Chuck Smith talk about how you can't determine if a pass rusher is going to be good or not by watching the combine. Like even like the 3-cone drill is about the thing that that'll show you the most. But it's like 40-yard dash. Who cares how fast a pass rusher runs a 40-yard dash? It literally means nothing to a pass rusher. Like cool, Vic Beasley ran a 4.4.
Right, because in the league, like they always say, like you'll just run faster to get blocked.
Right.
well, like you look at Penn State. Like half of Penn State's class going to draft is ran like 4.3s in the 40, and even the defensive lineman Micah Parsons ran like a 4.34. that DN we were looking at ran like a 4.36. So and like when we actually watched, was it Owa or whatever his name was
for
Penn State. Yeah. So when Ryan, when you and I watched his film, dude had no pass rush moves. He was just all speed. It was just I'm gonna get leverage and I'm gonna run by you, and that was it. He just forearm shiver, run by the tackle, and it was like, all right, that's good and all, but when you actually playing tackles who are quick enough to keep up with you and actually strong and knock you and just kind of toss you out the way, what are you going to do? You need to figure out some. Like that was Vic Beasley's problem. Vic Beasley relied on his speeds move. So when he started to face these tackles that knew how to handle it, it was just like, all right, well, I'm done.
Yeah. Right. And the worst thing that could happen to him was having such an exemplary year to where he thought, oh, I could do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This works out fine.
Right. I'm a speed guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree that they matter a tiny little bit, especially for like quarterbacks. Like it doesn't mean much at all, except for maybe showing off your arm strength. Madden can go, okay, he's a 94 throw power. He thought he was a 90. He's a 94.
It's really just for Madden. That's all it's for.
Honestly. And even then, their scouts are like, players are out there in the field and they're going, oh, wait, what did he do? Okay.
Wait. But as an addendum to that, do you I believe this, but do you believe that the actual college tape is more important than a pro day?
Oh, yeah.
1,000% more important. The weight on tape is so far beyond like pro day and combine. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been so many freaks go to the combine and just test out of this world and do nothing. I mean, hell, remember how high Hassan Reddick got drafted because of what his combine was? Like when he was at Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was at Temple, it was like, okay, yeah, I mean, he's an athletic linebacker, but he's okay.
Say it right. Say it right.
Who? Hassan?
No.
Temple?
Linebacker.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Mel Kiper and his way he says linebacker is linebacker. You'll never be able to not hear it whenever you watch Mel Kiper now. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't mean anything to me. Like it's like cool, he's athletic, he's fast. To me, it makes me go, oh, I want that guy in Madden. He's gonna be fun to play with on Madden. Like Owe and Parsons are gonna be freaks on Madden. Absolute freaks. I mean, even look at Isaiah Simmons. Like
imagine Justin Fields is going to be hella fun.
4.4 and probably like a 95 throw power. Boy, God, that's why I was like, I would not be mad if the Falcons got him. I just like, as a Madden guy, I was like, I'm gonna mess some people up.
Trade Matt Ryan. Let's go.
Right.
Matt Ryan's tight end.
Matt Ryan's already, any franchise I play is already one and done. But yeah,
it's funny. I look in my mind, I imagine Harvey as just the guy who only wears jerseys.
That's what I was picturing the same thing. I was like, damn, he could put them up on his walls and stuff, but except they would all be like little pieces of ash. Honey, why can't we decorate your man cave? No, I'm gonna burn him. I gotta burn it.
Thanks, Harvey. You're awesome.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Let's get out of here. Micah, we've relieved you of your duties since we got you doing it a little bit cooler ways.
Not yet, though.
Oh, yeah, no, it's here. I'm ready to roll with it.
Oh, let's do it.
But so big shout out to, Harvey, Bryce, all you guys for tuning in, and the other guys that jumped in earlier. This is probably our most watched live stream, concurrently. But we appreciate any of y'all for tuning in live. If you don't tune in live and you catch us otherwise, we appreciate you. Turn on those notifications so you can catch us when we are live. Smash that like button. It helps us tremendously. Drop some comments. We will reply. Or find us on our any of our socials. We're pretty active there. We're going to get a little more active probably pretty soon here. And we definitely are we're grateful for all y'all. So we're having fun doing this. The more y'all comment, the more y'all tune in, the more y'all interact with us, gives us more juice to do this. So
Let go Hawks.
let's go Hawks. Let's go home. Let's go do some cool things with our families and watch some sports. And peace.
And if you like fish and grits and all that sports shit, everybody let me hear you say, oh, yay.
Oh, yeah.